So, this week's, or the previous, Crash the Titans, because we're about ready to be done with this thing, right? Is against, 5-star Cable. Okay, let's level set the board. 5-star Cable came out way back when Kitty and Loki were new to 5-star land as well. I remember this very vividly because that was the first time I ever had a big horde pull of tokens. Don't believe me? Go way back in my YouTube history to my first YouTube pull videos. My biggest one at that time, one of the first and biggest ones I ever had, was Kitty Loki Cable. I had sitting on a butt ton of LTs and CP, and just I went crazy with it. And Kitty became one of my most powerful 5-stars, despite the fact she wasn't my first champed one. And I was so happy because I had Kitty, Loki, and Cable. And I thought to myself, these got to be some cool characters, right? Because, I mean, they're 5-stars. And I know Cable from the X-Men cartoons and comics. He's got to be good. That's not how that works. So, Cable in this game doesn't do the same thing. Let's state it really easily in what he does. His yellow is probably a little underrated. Okay, his yellow makes strike tiles based on you and how many allies you have left on the board. They're pretty strong, and he has a passive built in that whenever you match a yellow tile, you fortify a friendly repeater, and that's kind of cool. But only happens when you match yellows. I mean, it's very situational. It doesn't happen often. His blue is really weird. It could be fun if done with the right combo, but it takes some setup, and honestly, it's not worth the trouble. He makes a bunch of green charge tiles on the board, and there's a countdown that goes out with them. And when you match a green charge tile after that countdown's out, while that countdown's out there, you automatically stun the enemy for like 3 turns, and then it makes more charge tiles. It's really cool for getting your green AP up and stunning the enemy, but the problem is if you put that blue countdown out there and there's no green tiles to match, you really did nothing. And not to mention, if that countdown goes away, gets destroyed or matched away, you're done. That power is useless. Okay. Finally, there's his green, the Plasma Barrage. It's like 12 green, and it does like a nice chunk of damage. But if you actually happen to kill somebody with it, any of the damage that is not used from that, you know, the spillover damage, gets applied to the rest of the enemies out there. So let's say it's going to do like 20,000 damage, and you hit some dude that only has 2,000 damage. There's 18,000 damage left over that's spilling over to the rest of his teammates that are left. It can be really cool. The problem is, it's once again very situational. You only get the most bang for your buck with his green when you use it as a killing blow to somebody. So Cable has a bunch of fun ideas, but none of them really gel with the other ideas. They don't really do too much together. It's not a package that helps each other. It's more like someone had these really fun ideas laying around. They just kind of threw them together to make a character. So, unfortunately, that's Cable. But we're going to go ahead and fight him and see if we can outlast him with Bishop. Bishop is only 4-star, whereas Cable's 5-star, but I bet you Bishop will win. And I'll tell you why. Bishop used to be super, super powerful to the point he was broken. He would kill 5-stars left and right because as long as he or his teammates took so much damage, even match damage, and honestly a 5-star match damage always triggered it, he would automatically generate like 4 blue AP for his team. And he had to stun that lasts like 4 turns, and it only took like 8 AP. So it was like 2 hits, and all of a sudden you have a free stun for 4 turns. And yeah, so I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, Bishop always jumped to the front when people were taking so much damage. So he always took it. He always generated AP. You had tons of AP on hand for stunning people left and right. It was nearly an auto win if Bishop was on the enemy team. You had to really, really think your way around it. But no, that's not how Bishop works now. Move on to present day talk, right? Bishop nowadays is a projectile maker / converter He still has his whole jump to the front shtick, but it doesn't do the same thing as it used to. He more like stores up damage taken to let it off in a big blast at the end. He does have a stun, but it's not nearly as good as it was, and then, quite frankly, it's not good at all. I would never use his blue to stun unless you have to. Let's start with Overclocked. For 6 red, he sits in the front. You get a fortified black countdown tile, and when it expires, you deal up to 225% of the damage you took while the countdown was out there. He's always going to be in front taking these hits, so he's going to store damage, and he's going to clap back hard. It's actually a pretty good ability, especially seeing as General Reserve says, if at the start of the turn, if Bishop's in front, and that red basically says he is, right? You get 1 blue AP and create a Protect tile. If you have 8 or more blue AP, he stops this and it turns into this. So for 8 blue, you get a 2-turn stun with a little bit of damage. It's not worth it. 2 turns for 8 blue? No thank you. I'd rather have it turn back to this as soon as possible. Generate me more blue AP and Protect tile, please. Someone else is going to use my blue AP for me. Finally, for the future, this is super underrated. People don't use this enough, in my opinion. The 10 yellow is probably not what we're looking at here. It's the passive. But, hey, for 10 yellow, you convert an enemy special tile, and it just means any enemy special tile. It could be the repeater, an invisibility tile, a countdown, whatever. Convert an enemy special tile to a big ol' strength-friendly Protect tile. It's super strong. Super Protectile. But the passive is what we're here for. If there are 6 or more friendly Protectiles on the board at the start of your turn, you convert 2 friendly Protects and 5 basics to blues. That's awesome, because remember, he's making free Protectiles while he sits in front. And this thing is making a Protectile too if you use it as an active power. You could easily make a blue tile generator out of them just by having friendly Protectiles generated. You know who works well with this? 2-star Bullseye. 3-star Spider-Man kinda, but just anyone who can passively make Protectiles and rapidly, you can get so much blue AP out of it. Obviously, if you take like Beta Ray Bill and Polaris for a ride, Bishop is going to have a super fun time making a ton of blue for you. Not bad at all. Anyways, Bishop is super fun for those points alone, but he's definitely more cerebral now than he used to be. He used to be just threw him in a team, he's going to soak up hits and give you AP. You're going to stun the whole enemy team forever and ever, amen. Now he's not like that, but he's still super fun if you know how to play that game. And that's what we're about to do. Bishop versus Cable, one-on-one fight. And we're going to turn on the animations because that's what we do in one-on-one fights. So let's start off with, oh, I don't know. Go with, we kind of want this red rolling as soon as we can. So let's get that red. Of course he cascades into a red that I wanted, but that's cool. I'm going to hope and pray that a red falls. It did not. So I'm making Protectiles passively, because I am the only one here after all. I kind of want to get this overclocked up and running though. There we go. Because if I'm going to take hits to the face, I might as well take it for a purpose, right? Let me take that red into black. Because I like to stockpile the red if I can to get more, right? To be ready for next time. You don't want to be caught without it. Well, if you're Bishop. I really don't need that match 4 ruining part of that fun over there, so I'm going to do this so he doesn't. I don't mind taking the damage. I just don't want him ruining my Protectile setups going on. Take that. And there we go, overclock. Bam. Only 185. He hasn't done much damage to me because of all these Protectiles sitting out here. And that's one of the crappy things about Bishop. I wasn't going to say it earlier. I figured it was easier to see it in action. So he's making these Protectiles, and they're protecting him, But you clap back with damage based on damage you took. Well, if you're protected, you're not going to take as much, right? And that's one of my problems I have with him. But oh well. There you go. Let's stun him for a moment. Cool. So we're back to generating blues. Take this. There we go. A bunch of blue. See, that's fun right there. That's a cool point of the character. Now I can do this again. Let's prepare with this. Oh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do this. And we'll stun him again. So you can see where the real purpose of this character is, right? I mean, doing 2-turn stuns isn't like always going to win you the day, but when you can keep repeating it because the projectiles you keep pumping out, honestly, there's not a lot of things the enemy can do. And then this blue cascade of fun, come on. It kind of the game kind of plays itself almost. I'll take that one. Okay, so I don't know, might as well use it because I can right now, right? We'll take that. And he's dead. That's that. That's what Bishop does. He's a lot more fun with a good team surrounding him. Someone to really make projectiles like crazy. There's a lot of blue combos you could do there. If you have other people, his blue is not that great, right? But if you have other people that love using blue, that have an amazing blue, hey, you got a good blue tile generator right there. You just have to have a protect tile machine on your team. Again, like Polaris with some projectiles. Remember, Bishop is making projectiles. If he's in front, Polaris could just multiply those. Voila, projectile machine, hence blue tile machine. It's totally viable, totally a thing you could do. If you're in 4-star land and you need blue tiles now, that's a thing. Alright, that was Bishop's Crash the Titans. Thank you very much for watching and joining me today with this. We went through the Evolutionary Mayhem with just Guardians of the Galaxy characters, just 4 stars all throughout it, every different thing you can think of, every different team composition for the most part, besides 3 stars, let's face it, those aren't the fun ones. We have all the 4 stars. We went through those. And then we went with the Crash the Titans.